So, sorry to create such a confusion. I'm completely new to technology. I have been making pots for maybe 20 years, maybe a little longer. Never even occurred to me to do a bonsai until last year, 2020 of all things. My friend Noah asked me to make a couple pots for her. To me, it doesn't matter, a pot is a pot. I started doing things and very politely she says, they're very boring. I say, okay, what do you mean? So she's talking about, well, you know, these are trees, the trees are never on their own. So we start working, I start working on some textures. Some of the textures I already did before and some of them I knew about it. And they become a little more exciting for us, but also for me. All of a sudden, after making cups and plates and jars, and all of a sudden there is all these pots, all these forms, then they are going to be put into a tree, and things start getting pretty excited. After a year, I'm beginning to get a little bit of a feeling for some of the textures, and there will be a lot of more now that I'm getting a feeling of it. I made this ones yesterday, and that's, I don't know if you can see, it's the typical, I call it crocodile. I'm trying to imitate the bark of some trees. It's not quite happening yet, but I will. I'm going to just a very quick demonstration of how we make this type of and this is new, still raw, still doesn't have feet or a drain hole, which is my nightmare. But they're basically, once they are finished, which is something that is new to me also, a non-glaze. Non-glaze is becoming quite interesting because as I fire in the reduction and instead of an electric I do it with gas, where I can control the atmosphere, by starving of oxygen, it picks up oxygen, the flame wants to happen. So it picks up the elements from the clay and from the glazes and the oxides that I put on. It's been really interesting. The one great thing of 2020 for me has been getting into bonsai pots. So what we do to create this, I have a couple forms already made or begin. To create these forms, this crackle, what we do is we create a skin, so then we go from inside, we expand the pot, and because it has a dry skin on the outside, I have to be mindful of the thickness of the walls and all that, but and also of the shape that I actually want to end up with. So basically it cracks like that, which is pretty much this type of thing. The one thing that I don't like of that is the evenness of the crack, because as I look at trees, I never see such an even crust, so I need to work on that. This type of texture, it really gets, it can be quite beautiful, glaze or unglaze. Like this one is a little pot that I put some glaze to it, it gets some color. Most of the times I put an oxide coat of it, then I clean it so only the crevices have color. But they work just as well with glaze. This one is fully glazed, but you can still see a little bit of rustic, which I believe is what I'm looking for. And of course they can get really big, and this is what I'm talking about. I put an oxide on it and then I wipe it right off, so only the crevices have the color. And then of course the kiln fairies take over and they do whatever they want to do. And well, that's basically
There's another one.
in nutshell. I'm beginning to do
that's beautiful.
other kind of
Really nice.
very simple textures, but it seems like, and this is new to me, the forget about the results of what the glaze will do, but rather create the textures first. So if the pot is good before the glaze, they will be hopefully somewhat good after the glaze. And basically, that's it. I do other kinds of textures. I don't know if you can see something like this.
Yeah, I'll get it closer.
This is
Very nice. Very nice.
so this is basically the same type of texture, and this kind of texture is something that I've been using for a long time. It's very simple to do, but it's, what should I say?
And I make sure that he makes in plenty holes so we can secure the plants into. Yeah.
That's how the things that I'm learning.
When you made the oval pot, did you couldn't throw that on the wheel? You
Well-
had to take the rim off and put it on another base?
That's exactly. I throw it on the wheel without a bottom,
Uh-huh.
and then I create a slab, a flat slab, and then yes, I
Right.
mark it, stretch it,
Slab.
attach it.
Okay.
When I first started a few months ago, I tried different ways, cutting darts to manipulate the pottery thrown, the wheel thrown, but I was having all kinds of hard times. Clay has a memory, so I throw it around, I cut it, I push it, I basically weld it, put it together. The next day or 2-3 days ago, the memory of the clay opens up again and I have that. So it's been a very, very interesting.
Like one day we took the shaving, the leftovers, and we glued them on.
Oh, gorgeous.
So that's my contribution.
And that is
Without buying anything.
that is a new or a potential direction that I want to go through. I did a few pots larger, and I use this sometimes to, like when I do squares, for example. This pot right here. Obviously a mistake, it blew up because it was not dry enough. But actually I throw it on the wheel, I mark the squares, I pound it, it's all wheel thrown. But then we use a rasp to define the corners and all that. With those grinders from the rasp, attach it, wet the thing and wetting and attaching to it, and it creates a beautiful thing. I was doing the whole pot around it, but then now I come about and a little bit at a time, and I think the potential is very, very nice. I will play with that in the near future. And thank you very much. If you have any questions, thank you very
That's
much.
really good. I have a question in a minute.
Yes,
I do too. Okay.
Sure.
if I hear it.
How difficult? I have always heard, because I love red, and I love red pots. How difficult is it to make a red glazed pot?
That's a loaded question.
Here's a red one on one that I made, and I hate it. I can't stand it.
That's the thing about reds. Personally, I love reds, and I don't have any in the studio. This out of the last firing right there.
Okay.
There are different reds. What it is the way I like it is out of copper. I use a copper oxide. I basically two glazes will get, or two oxides will make a red under specific firing conditions. One is copper, the other one is iron oxide. You know, they are both oxides. The iron oxide will get red, very temperamental, by using reduction, by starving it of oxygen as it cools down, and then heating it back up, and then cool down again. And even literature is out there, I never tried, to get reds out of an iron oxide. After you fire under reduction, you can go into an electric kiln and fire at very low temperature. Now, very low temperature is 1900 degrees. I mean, you know. But then that somehow encourages the iron to get redder. On the other hand, if I use copper oxide, on the reduction, starving of oxygen, that's what we call reduction, we can get quite a bit of red out of it, because when there is not enough oxygen for the combustion to happen, it pulls on the copper to change. I can get reds that way. If the same pot, I put it on the electric kiln, it's fully green. And that's
Like here's one of the reds.
Green. Yeah, I heard gold was used for real reds.
gold.
Yes.
That's new
Which
to me.
makes it very, very, very expensive.
I would imagine so.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, that one is new to me. I don't believe I ever hear of that or read about it. I know that the ancient Chinese had fabulous reds. Some of the several thousand years old pots out of China, and then they have perfect reds. Who knows what did they use? It's always a reduction. It has to do with the clay body also. I use a clay body most of the times. Then it's very grainy, and when I use it, it gets white on the electric kiln and oxidation. But when I reduce it early, about 1300 degrees, I can steal the iron out of the clay body, and it comes out and makes this toasty color. I personally like that a lot.
As opposed to this clay that's completely different.
Right, that's a porcelain,
Yeah.
even though it's a low
Copper in
temperature.
there and porcelain,
Yeah.
high fire.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Very nice.
Ah.
So where do you want to go from here?
Me? To eat dinner.
Yes, yes. Where do you want to go from here?
You're not talking to me, is that correct?
I am talking to you. Where do you want to go from here? Like, what's your biggest challenge? What do you want to get to next in this?
I'm an avid gardener. and I like to garden, be in the sunshine, and every so often I make some pots. Life is really good. So I'm right there as well.
Nice.
Uh,
They're beautiful. They're
Can I
really
reveal
nice.
something?
Hopefully in the near future when this corona, whatever you want to call pain in the neck situation, I would like to join the club that you guys are part of, so I can hear and see a lot more of the plants themselves, of the art of actually creating. Because I mean, I garden all the time. I have lots of trees, but it's a completely different thing.
Yes.
And
Sure.
I feel then that for me to create better bonsai pots, I need to know a lot more, and I learn very slow. So I hope then that will be my, where do I want to go? I really want to be part of the
Lovely.
club to learn a little more. Just
You're like, which tree goes to what kind of pot, to what color, to what shape, and